What is going on, everyone? It's spring. As you can tell by the fact that I'm wearing shorts, it is an absolutely glorious day here in Michigan. I know that it might not last because it is Michigan, but you know what? Got to enjoy it while I can. And in today's episode, the very first thing that I have to do to get ready to plant out our garden, can't believe I'm saying it, is I've got to re-amend our soil. So I thought I'd bring you guys along, show you how I re-amend. It's pretty simple. It does vary from year to year based on what I grew the season prior. We'll get into that. But I'm super excited about it, so let's get started and let's start re-amending our beds for spring. So the first thing you want to do before you re-amend your soil is to look at what type of soil you have, because some soil is going to need more than others. You see, the soil we have here, we just topped off our raised beds with some old potting mix. We had some pots, some containers on our patio that needed to be refreshed over time, and rather than throw that out, we figured let's just top off our raised beds with it. So we threw it on our raised beds because it gave us the ability to refresh our pots and fill up our beds with some soil that's going to obviously add some volume, because over time the volume of your beds does decrease. And when you're talking about potting soil, it's usually a very kind of a inert, soilless mix that primarily has peat moss or cocoa husk fiber. It's got perlite and vermiculite in it, but it rarely has a lot of other nutrients or other fertility added to that potting mix. It might have like a slow release fertilizer, but at this point that's long gone, meaning that there's very little nutrients left. Now, if it was compost has a lot more fertility. It's going to be a little bit more forgiving. And so depending on what you have in your soil will dictate how much you're going to have to re-amend. For us, we're going to have to re-amend slightly heavier than we would normally because it's not compost. Now, if we were at the farm where we have our garden, we have loads and loads of compost that we generate every year. And so we're actually going to be using compost to top off our beds. And compost has nutrients because it's breaking down organic material that releases nutrients into your soil rather than just repurposing. So just kind of, that definitely is the first thing you want to look at, is the type of soil you have, because that's just going to dictate how much you have to re-amend. So once you kind of assess how much you're going to have to amend based on the type of soil you have, the next thing you want to look at is the type of crops you grew there the year prior. So if I grew something like a tomato or a zucchini or a pumpkin, those are very heavy feeders. They're going to take up so much nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, your macronutrients. They're going to take up a ton more of that because they're heavy feeders. Spinach is another great example. It's a leafy green crop, takes tons of nutrients out of the soil. Versus like a bush bean, right? A bush bean is a nitrogen fixer, and a bush bean is going to actually give nutrients back to the soil. It's going to help to re-amend nitrogen in the soil so that you actually are kind of giving back in a lot of ways some of the stuff that would normally be taken out by other crops. So if I grew this bed of bush beans here, I wouldn't probably fertilize or remineralize as much because I don't need to. I might add a tiny bit, but in some cases I might not even add any at all. Compare that to a tomato, I'm going to add so much more because I don't want my soil to be depleted. Otherwise, the crops that I'm going to grow this year are going to be just as depleted, if not even more depleted. The first mineral that we're going to apply here are trace minerals. This is through a product called azomite. We actually carry this over at MIgardener.com, but you can get it in larger bags as well. I'm not here to spend your money. I'm just simply here to help you grow a garden better. So definitely do what's best for your pocket. I typically buy a couple 50-pound bags for my garden because I have a rather large garden. But if you just have a small raised bed like this, we carry these smaller bags, and all you're going to need are a couple handfuls. I typically am going to put about 2 to 3 cups over the course of this bed here, over the area of this bed. And what that's going to add is trace minerals. Now, trace minerals are very important because trace minerals are nutrients that are kind of like, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a multivitamin that you'd take in the morning. It's going to have so many of these tiny, itty bitty little traces of nutrients that are not your big three. Your big three are your macronutrients, your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. That's your trifecta or your Vigagrow or whatever type of all-purpose fertilizer that you have on hand. Those are your big three, your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Those are the 3 letters, or 3 numbers, I should say, on your fertilizer bag. The next thing we're going to add is the macronutrients, because the macronutrients you're going to lose the soonest. You're going to lose those the fastest out of your soil because those are the big 3 that every plant takes up in large quantities. And you're going to want to remineralize the soil with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, as well as your trace minerals, because it's all important, right? It's all important. It's just like, you know, you have carbs, you have fat, and you have protein, right? Carbs, fat, and protein. It's kind of like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium in a loose way. And then your azomite is kind of like your green juice or your smoothie. You know, it's got vitamin K, it's got you got your vitamins that you might not always think about that are just as important. It's got your minerals, right? So it's got your magnesium, it's got your zinc, it's got your cobalt, it's got your molybdenum, it's got your your iron, right? It's got your calcium, it's got those things. Those are very, very important to add into your soil, because once you've tackled the big three and your trace minerals, you now are ensuring that your plants are going to be, when they need it, they're going to be able to uptake what they need. And this is what we do every single year, regardless, right? Regardless of the year, we remineralize. How much we remineralize, it's kind of a tongue twister there, how much we remineralize is based on the type of soil and what we grew. This is a little heavier than what we normally would do, but because we're using repurposed potting mix that is essentially void of all fertility whatsoever, it just has a good texture, we need to bring the fertility. So you would use probably half the amount that I added if you were using something like compost or other soil. And then last but not least, we add worm castings. It's so important to add worm castings. Now, worm castings, the reason why it's important is because worm castings brings to the party beneficial bacteria, as well as they bring in acids. Now, humic and fulvic acid are found in worm castings. And humic acid is essentially a really important, it's an important acid that is not necessarily like, what type of acid would, you know, it's not a bad acid, right? It's a good acid for your garden. And what it does is it essentially helps to feed and foster beneficial bacteria and fungi in the soil. That humic acid is actually, it's what's responsible for their survival. They need it to survive. And the beneficial bacteria and fungi that live in the soil are what create a symbiotic relationship with your plant roots. And because those beneficial bacteria and fungi cannot photosynthesize, they need a sugar source. They need a carbohydrate source like you and I do to survive. They need calories. Well, where do they get that carbohydrate source? Well, they get it from plants, because plants, they have leaves that photosynthesize and generate energy. And where does the energy go? It goes down to the roots. And they will actually attach to roots. They will attach to roots. The beneficial bacteria and fungi will attach to plant roots to obtain the nutrients available in the soil and in the plant. And the plant, in exchange, gets the micronutrients. You see, the plant has very little ability to obtain trace minerals. But what these beneficial bacteria and fungi will do is they'll say, if they had hands, they'll say, "Good to meet you. I'm Rhizobium bacteria." Well, Rhizobium bacteria, I'm a tomato plant. Good to meet you. Well, what do you need, Rhizobium bacteria? Well, I need sugar because I can't create it. And the tomato plant says, well, it's funny you say that, because I need trace minerals because I can't go get it. And the Rhizobium bacteria says, well, that's fantastic. I will hitch a ride on your roots. If you give me sugar, I will mine you the trace minerals. And that symbiotic relationship, that agreement that they have within the soil, is actually what unlocks up to 70% of the trace minerals in the soil. And that's the full circle story right there. That is the trace minerals that we added through the azomite. That is the beneficial bacteria and the beneficial fungi and the humic acids and the fulvic acids added through the worm castings. And then on top of that, we added the macronutrients as well as some other micros from Trifecta. But any all-purpose fertilizer is going to bring the macronutrients, which brings the big three, the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and all of that is what reamends our soil to get ready for spring. The last thing I thought I'd mention, once you remineralize, that is important to take into consideration is the time it takes to plant your bed out. You don't want to remineralize super early, because what happens over time, if you get a heavy rain, or let's say you get a snowstorm that comes in, it's going to bring in precipitation, and that precipitation can actually leach nutrients from your soil. That's actually how your soil loses quite a bit of nutrients over the season, is through leaching. And that's the process of water basically dissolving nutrients in your soil and carrying it down through your soil deeper than what plant roots can reach. That's why if you ever kind of flip your soil, now not necessarily that tilling is a good idea, but if you kind of flip your soil, you'll notice that your plants actually will obtain nutrients that wasn't already available, simply because you're bringing it back up to the surface. Now you're going to be destroying the soil column, the soil web, you're going to be destroying the soil structure, so we don't recommend that. But that is why that in a first time garden, you'll oftentimes bring up those nutrients, and your plants grow great that first year, even with very little inputs, because you're bringing those nutrients back up from, say, 8-10 inches down, right up to the soil surface where they can obtain it again. Now, the reason why I say you want to kind of take note of when you're going to be planting is because we're planting this bed out with our leafy greens in probably about a week from now, week and a half from now. That's plenty enough time. We don't need to worry too much about leaching that's going to happen in that time frame. So we're planting this out in about a week to a week and a half with our lettuce seed. If we were, say, going to be planting this out with tomatoes in 3 to 5 weeks, well, then in that case, we are absolutely going to want to wait, because I don't want to leave this bed open and re-amended for 3 to 5 weeks. That's just not practical. Definitely wait. It takes no time to do, so it doesn't make any sense to do it 5 weeks early. And then the final thing to note as well is that when you're re-amending your soil, there's going to be plenty of people that say, just use compost. That's plenty fine. And it is in most cases fine, but it's fine for a short period of time. You see, compost depletes its nutrients very quickly. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're adding more nutrients than what's being taken out. We want to add a surplus of nutrients so that the plants can uptake what they need, rather than us realizing halfway through the season that there's a shortage. So we want to re-amend, and yes, compost is great. But even if we have compost, we're still going to be adding those 3 things that we talked about, just in lesser quantities. So hopefully that answers some questions. Hopefully this helps. And there's going to be 100 people that tell you 100 different answers. This is just what we do and what we find works best for our garden. So take that with a grain of salt. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments box down below if you are remineralizing your garden, what you use to remineralize, and some tips and tricks that might help someone else out that are looking for answers. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you guys later. Grow bigger. See ya. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care.